Okay, so in your area, was the gang thing heavy at that point?
Definitely. You had back then, you had what you called Valley Swans was there, and then you had the Pacoima Piru Bloods. I'm Little Wack. My brother is Big Wack. He's actual Loco Wack. A lot of these youngsters don't know Loco was a blood word before it was a Crip word. It just meant crazy, right? It's all the Bloods use Loco before Crips use Loco. When Crips started to adapt to the name, that's where we kind of phased over to the dog thing. We start calling each other dog and stuff like that. So, and my brother was a real respected guy. You know, he put in a lot of work. So I seen it, you know, and when your brother comes home and he's blood, he got a stabbing or he got a busted eye, and you're sitting outside and you're listening to him talk. And they're talking about, yeah, the dude's over there. The dude's over there. So when I go to school and the little brother to the dudes over there, my mind is, we don't like the dudes over there, right? So then, it's instilled in you day one, not to like the people that your loved ones around you don't like. You don't know why. You just don't like them. And then you have the thing when you're at the park and you're playing with the guys and your brothers over there on the basketball court and they get into it with the other guys. I bet this. I bet my brother whoop your ass, your brother's ass. And they come over there and they say, Cash, get him. If I didn't get him, they was going to get me. And I realized sitting in a prison cell years later, how all these things, right, was the build of a monster.
Okay, so your brother was Piru?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the difference?
My middle brother. My older brother's from OVG.
Okay. So what's the difference between Piru and blood?
Piru's originated in Compton, as the homies gonna call it, Bompton. Street over there called Piru Street. So whatever Piru set you from, San Diego to Sacramento to Pacoima, Inglewood, Watts, right? The motherhood, the origination of Piru is Compton, right? Piru and Bloods is cut from the same cloth. If you just to be around a Piru, we're gonna take it personal, right? So in the city of Compton, anything with we really a burgundy bandana, but anything with a red rag is a Piru. There's no such and such blood gang in Compton. So the origination and the origin of Piru is Compton. And what it did, it just spread, from people going to jail, from people going to other cities and states, hustling and doing their thing. Now, my neighborhood, the twist with my neighborhood is PPB was originally Pierce Park Boys, right? And my homeboy B. Capone ended up going to Sylmar Juvenile Hall. And he's in there. And the Crips is kind of like, they seeing PPB and they know he's from Pacoima. So they like, were you from Pacoima, Piru? And they kept pressing him. And they kept pressing him. And he just kind of embraced it. Nobody from Compton came to Pacoima and started the Pacoima Piru movement. It really started at Sylmar Juvenile Hall with my homeboy B. Capone and running across some Crips who kind of assumed what he was from, and he just embraced it, and that's what it was. And he brought it back to the streets, and then that's just what it became. From there, homies started doing time. They going to county jail, youth authorities, juvenile hall. They running into Compton Pirus and Inglewood Pirus and other Pirus, and they got tested. And they was passing the test, and other homies just embraced the city.
So would you consider yourself a blood or just a Piru?
I'm original Pacoima Piru blood, right?
So both?
We're the only neighborhood that got a B behind the P.
Right, because there's two P's and there's two P's and a B, right?
Yeah. Where I come from, my era, is two P's and a B. Now, my homies at the time that did what they did, understand the politics of today and how Piru originated and how it worked. The B, right, probably shouldn't have been there, but it was there. And because it was there, we was from the Valley, we embraced it, and then that's just what it was. So when you heard two P's and a B, you already knew it was Valley Pirus off the rip, which At the time, you know, you got homies from Compton, right, finding a safe haven where we at. You know, the money was right, the drugs was there, the women was there. So you got homies, you know, I remember Nut from Fruitown coming out that way. A lot of homies coming out that way. And our projects was called the Noms after Vietnam.
Hmm.
Because that's really what was going on in there. You just couldn't walk in there. It was a hard life and a hard walk. You know, and survival was what it was. Every time one of my homies went to jail and got out, it got a little more and more sophisticated because they would bring the ways of the penitentiary back to the streets. So PPB is a Valley Piru gang. We on the east side of Pacoima though.
So were you jumped in when you joined?
Definitely.
What age?
12 years old, 1989.
Okay. Was it a bad beating or just a little some
No,
homie
I
shit?
remember, I think the worst part of my jump in is during the fight, my homeboy Baby Bullet, a few other homies, but during the fight, we kind of got towards the end of the fight where it started off with 3, 4 of them, and they was like, well, he's squabbling, y'all back up off of him, let him and Bullet get theirs in. And I tried to catch him with like a hate maker, and he ducked, and I hit the damn wall. My whole fist just opened up to the meat, right? And I think that was kind of the worst part of it. Because when you getting jumped in at that time, this is something you embracing, it's something you loving. It's like you looking forward to it. Like the pain of it lets you know that you finally made it. You know what I mean? Vlad, you know how it was when you got that first $1 million wire? You, in your mind, you're like, I made it. We understand now that we had to keep going because it is what it is. But at that time, that's all I knew. I didn't know nothing outside of the neighborhood and being a part of that movement. That's all I knew.